bitches go.
We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxing Ego Unpacked. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. I was born ready. Canelo Alvarez versus Sergey Kovalev. We unpack. Coming to you live. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chat channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, shout out to everybody who signed up for UFC 242. Khabib Nurmagomedov defeated Dustin Poirier, made it look easy. ESPN Plus, go ahead and grab it. You have Tyson Fury about to fight Otto Wallen, and you have some upcoming UFC cards. Link in the description. It helps my channel, ESPN Plus, you know, for sports. You know, they got a lot of stuff coming up. The latest report is that Canelo is going to fight Kovalev. This is not really news if you follow the channel, and if you don't, hit that subscribe button. But this is not really, you know, anything surprising, because they were trying to get this fight over the line before the Anthony Yarde fight. Anthony Yarde was Sergey Kovalev's light heavyweight mandatory, but due to a time crunch and not being able to get, you know, fully on the same page financially, you know, they said Kovalev in main events wasn't really ecstatic, or they thought they were getting undercut a bit to fight a guy like Canelo. You know, they're like, how's Danny Jacobs made more money than what you're offering me when I'm a champion in a new division? So Kovalev just got past Anthony Yarde. It was a very good fight, also on ESPN Plus. Again, that's why you guys should get the link in the description. Fun fight, entertaining fight, competitive fight, but Kovalev was pushed. He prevailed. This is what I predicted on my channel. New media. We've been on point. I'm not perfect, but I've been known to get a couple things right here and there, and that was one of them. I just didn't see Yarde having the experience to go against Kovalev, who I mentioned to you guys. He's a fierce puncher and he can box. And I seen those two things really pushing him over the mark, especially experience. And the fight played out exactly how I thought. Yarde is a person who was undefeated, so Kovalev was going to have to discourage him. And I figured that would happen more so in the later rounds. Andre Ward also told you this. I have a video on my channel before the fight, Kovalev Yarde, where Andre Ward, I was talking about his thoughts. He said, I'm picking Kovalev by stoppage. And it says Andre Ward picking Kovalev to stop Yarde, and I agree, because that's what I've been telling you guys. I just seen Kovalev all the way, be it decision or a stoppage, and I definitely could see a stoppage, which is why I titled the video like that. Again, fun fight with the up-and-comer like Yarde. He's in shape. He's younger than Kovalev, less miles. He doesn't spar and stuff like that. So he didn't have as much wear and tear, didn't have an amateur pedigree. So you're going to have to discourage him, let him burn off some of that excess energy. Similarly to Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, where you have a youthful Conor McGregor, younger than Floyd, bigger than Floyd, and, you know, he's anxious to impress, those types of things. Burn off that nervous energy and that youth. That's what I call it. Burn off that youth. And then take him to the deep waters and drown him. That's exactly what Kovalev did. You know, he weathered the early storm and he prevails. And now he pulled through, and it looks like he's getting the Canelo fight. As you guys see on the Bleacher Report, Canelo versus Kovalev light heavyweight fight being finalized. I heard it's like, you know, pretty much ready to go. You know, let me take a sip of my iced coffee, homemade this time. Make sure you guys smash the like button. And again, based on Kovalev winning, that's all he had to do. And we knew this was likely to come. Canelo and Kovalev are finalizing a deal for November 2nd bout, with the latter fighter's WBO light heavyweight title up for grabs. According to Mike Coppinger of The Athletic, he was one of the early people who kind of forecasted this. Shout out to The Athletic. Check them out. If the agreement is completed, which I heard it is, or is right there, you know, terms of agreed. They're not beefing over wages and person and all that. DAZN will stream the bout, which will occur in Las Vegas. Per Coppinger, the current venue is unknown, but it won't be T-Mobile Arena. because the NHL team, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, are playing a home game. So T-Mobile is not available based on the hockey game. Beyond that, I don't know. I don't know what capacity crowd this would do. So T-Mobile is like, one of the newer, nice venues, kind of replace the MGM. They're both MGM properties, but you guys get what I'm saying. Pacquiao, some people don't understand this. Pacquiao fights at the MGM because he's superstitious. That's why his fights with Broner, I went to that fight in January, and then his fight with Keith Thurman. That's why it's at the MGM, because he's highly superstitious. So he's had good luck with the regular MGM, and he don't want to switch up and try something different, with T-Mobile. Some people are like that. So shout out to Pacquiao. Yes, it's my fight with Adrian Broner. I believe the MGM will be that property. That's what he wants. But not everyone is superstitious like that. So it says Alvarez is ranked by BoxRec top 10 pound for pound in the world. He's a WBA super champion, WBC, the ring, lineal middleweight titles. He'll have to jump 2 weight classes for this fight. Now, I don't agree with what is being said right here. You could say he has to jump, like, I'm all about giving the proper information without misinformation. That's why I told you, when it comes to boxing, YouTube is still that place, because you got channels like mine and whatnot, and we cut the fat and get straight to it. This is precisely what they did to Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence. And technically, it's true, but it's different when you have a video and a personality like mine who explains it to you. So from a technicality, yeah, he's jumping up 2 weight classes. However, they don't make follow-up sentences when they suggest this that show that he's fought at higher weights than 160. So, if I were to read the article and I'm just a novice, then I'm going to assume that, oh shit, he jumped up 2 weight classes and he don't have no experience. But come on, that's not the case. He moved from 154 fighting Liam Smith. This is Canelo. Fought at 154 against Liam Smith. Then he struggled, he didn't look happy at the weigh-in and stuff. So after he beat up Liam Smith and stopped him, he moved up to fight Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., son of Mexican legend. That fight, in his very first fight, was at 164.5, and Canelo looked beast at the schedule. I mean, at the weigh-in, he looked his body. He looked on point, like he looked in shape. To me, this is an indication of this generation of fighters. These new generation of fighters, they do not fight at their walk-around weight. Those days are numbered. Guys, you see almost all these guys. It's a thing of the past to be like Bernard Hopkins, to be like Manny Pacquiao, to be like Floyd Mayweather, where you actually campaign at your weight and you don't balloon up to crazy weights. I think it was the Mayweather versus Cotto or Canelo fight. The night of the fight, on the unofficial scale, they said Floyd weighed at 151, so he didn't balloon up for a fight over 150 pounds, 52, 54, whatever. He weighed in under. And I think another one, he weighed 148 on fight night. So those days are done. Most of these new generation, the new school, if you will, who haven't been fighting since the 90s and early 2000s, finito. So to be honest, Canelo, he probably was killing himself to make 154. And people knew this. That's why he was adding the extra pound, because he was the A side. He was fighting at Canelo weight of 155. So when I see articles like this, I feel like it's a little bit of negligence when they just try to make it look like, he's just jumping up 2 weight classes. Technically, from his last fight with Danny Jacobs, he is. But again, if I'm reading this article, doesn't mention that he fought Rocky Fielding at 168, and doesn't mention that he fought over middleweight limit 164.5, which would technically be super middleweight. So realistically, Canelo has 2 fights at super middleweight because he was over 160, by the contracted weights in the Fielding fight and Chavez Jr. fight, both of which were in his last 4 fights, period. So yeah, he's moving up too, if that's what people want to say. But at the end of the day, it's just like Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia's last fight before Spence was Robert Easter Jr. I went to that. I went to Spence Garcia. I went to all of them, And yeah, so he unified with Robert Easter, and then he had been calling out Errol Spence, so that fight was made. So he jumped up technically from 135 to 147. However, he does have some experience. That is a big difference and a stark contrast to just in one fell swoop, bow, and just jumping up. Because we're talking about fights where you fought bigger people or, you know, for the most part, adequate competition. If you had like Shane Mosley when he fought Oscar De La Hoya, he fought low level, like some low level welterweights, and then went to De La Hoya. So that's a bit different. Canelo was in there in his first fight at super middleweight, you know, leaving 154 with Julio Cesar Chavez, who has some decent wins and, you know, hurt Sergio Martinez and was a name. So I think it's a little bit different, but that's my little rant over. Now, the 29-year-old Canelo holds a 51-1-2 professional record, although some people would dispute that because the Lotta fight and some of the Golovkin fights, people feel they could have went either way. His only loss occurred Floyd Mayweather in 2013. Alvarez's last victory came against Danny Jacobs, middleweight, Cinco de Mayo weekend. The 36-year-old Kovalev sports a 34-3. Two of those losses came by Andre Ward, one to leader Alvarez, which he did avenge. See, I try to give you guys, especially on these unpacked, try to give you as much. I try to pack in a lot of the information. And then he has one draw record, and he most recently knocked out Yard. You know? So that's the latest. It looks like, I just want to kind of give my thoughts now. It looks like Canelo will be fighting against Kovalev. Listen, I've said the same thing. Let me see what Kovalev's talking about. I ain't seen this. I don't know what he's saying.
5 сентября во вторник в 18:00 состоится моя дружеская встреча с любителями бокса и средствами массовой информации.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. So let's unpack it. We unpack, coming to you live. Shout out to Khabib Nurmagomedov. That motherfucker's a beast, bro. He fighting elite level people, making it look easy, just dusting them up, kicking up dust with the old G's. Man, I like Khabib. Shout out to the Eagle, man. This was a good fight. Shout out to Kovalev too. All right, my thoughts very simple. I've maintained the same thing. To me, this is not a give me fight. We gonna unpack this together. Smash the like button. This is not a give me fight, meaning Canelo ain't gonna have to train hard, ain't gonna have to work. But I do think it is an advanced cherry pick. What I mean by advanced cherry pick, it doesn't suggest that there is no danger here. However, this is a convenient pick amongst all of the talented guys from 160 to 175. And if you really think about it, what I'm saying, if you know your sport of boxing, makes perfect sense. The reason I'm saying this is because out of all of the names, all of the people you could possibly, you're right now, Canelo, I was born ready, right? He has 2 belts. This guy has 2 belts in 2 different divisions, middleweight and super middleweight. He also got stripped of a belt for failure to fight his mandatory Sergey Derevyanchenko, who Golovkin is about to fight, right? He has a belt from, this was from the Rocky Fielding fight. From fighting Rocky Fielding, he annihilated him 3rd round or whatever it was and destroyed him. Fake ass Aaron Rodgers looking motherfucker. Bro, he destroyed him. So Canelo has championship belts. People aren't making him fight his mandatories like the sanctioning bodies. The WBC made him, they elevated him to a brand new mythical title that has never been created before at middleweight. So he did not have to fight Charlo. So right here and now, let's get it in. We unpack, coming to you live. Let me explain. Some people, they don't understand where I'm going, and they're gonna say, oh yeah, Sergey Kovalev, he's much more dangerous than Jermall Charlo. Listen, boxing is about styles make fights. Don't get it twisted, Kovalev, there's some danger there, but Charlo is dangerous also. People can say whatever they want. If you really felt that Charlo, we'll use him for this example, if you really felt Charlo was not dangerous, then why not stay put in your division, clarify who's the WBC champion. You could have fought him not only at 160, but also at 154, but they've never made the fight. So if it was such easy pickings, why would Canelo want to jump up 2 weight classes to fight a guy like Sergey Kovalev? If you really analyze that, you'll realize that don't make no fucking sense, bro. So it's like you being at your job and you can get paid the same amount, but you could take the easier task versus the harder task, and you're that competitive where you want to take the harder task. Come on, bro. Most people wouldn't do that. So like if you had a daycare, you could babysit one kid and get $500 for 2 hours. You telling me you would rather babysit 10 kids for 8 hours and get the same $500? Come on, bro. Boxing is a business. Beyond that, styles make fights. Kovalev is a good fighter. I've never taken that away from him. But stylistically, since he's fought at such a high level, there's no mystery what he does well and what he's vulnerable at. Andre Ward gave us the blueprint. We never seen Canelo really in the mood to fight Kovalev like after he destroyed his boss at Golden Boy, Bernard Hopkins. We didn't see that. But now when Kovalev got some miles on him, he's 36. He's been hurt in his last fight with Anthony Yarde. Clearly he was hurt a couple fights ago with the leader Alvarez because he got dropped 3 times and stopped. He got hurt in the Ward fight, hit with a right cross. The body shots were killing him in the second fight. I think the body shots affected him despite him doing better in the first fight, right? So we've seen that. I've seen Kovalev dropped by Blake Caparello. Jean Pascal hurt him. And this is what happens when you're fighting great competition. See, no one's ever said nothing about Kovalev ducking no fades. Kovalev, he'll get in there with you and scrap. That just goes without saying. Kovalev has a really good resume, amateur pedigree, fought the likes of Beterbiev, who's a champion now, So Kovalev's definitely earned his keep, as a fighter, and earned the respect. Whether you like him as a person or not, he's earned the respect in the square circle. You get what I'm saying? But I also feel in earning that respect, we've also been privy to what he does good and what he's not so good at. So as a result, it's easier to select him and formulate a game plan because we have so much data on Sergey Kovalev, namely things he's not good at. Like there's been topics of, does he drink too much? Does he have heart? Does he quit? Can he sustain a certain pace? Does he like the body work? If someone's young and hungry and combination punching. So to me, this is really an opportunity that Golden Boy is seizing because of the perception. The perception is like, oh, Kovalev's this monster, and this is a huge risk. But I think this is definitely a calculated risk, more so than what people are saying. But I could be way off the mark, and we'll see. We'll see. But the fact that Canelo is probably going to start off as the favorite lets me know that I'm on the right track with what the fuck I'm thinking about. Because he wouldn't, if Kovalev was Kovalev of a couple years ago and Canelo was, coming off the Lada fight, then trust me, Canelo wouldn't have been the favorite at that point. If Kovalev was at the part in his career where he knocked out Jean Pascal twice and then beat up on Bernard Hopkins, and Canelo was fighting Lada and shit like that and arguably losing there, then he wouldn't be the favorite. But timing is everything in boxing, and I think that's what this is. Boxing, sometimes they try to captivate you based on the timing and, the challenge. Like, even here's another example. Miguel Cotto, love him to death. Yes, I am Miguel Cotto in my fight with, Cotto be whispering and shit. With Sergio Martinez, I feel we should promote at Genki Stadium. Shout out to Cotto. But I do believe he fought Sergio Martinez. It benefited him. Sergio Martinez was coming off of leg injury, a suspect performance versus Martin Murray. I thought Martin Murray beat him. Martin Murray fought in Argentina. He fought Sergio Martinez in his backyard, and Martinez didn't look that good. I remember the fight clearly. It was raining out. There was a knockdown that Martinez got knocked down a second time or third time or whatever it was, and they didn't give him credit for it. They tried to make it look like it was a slip or some shit, and it was really a knockdown. I thought Sergio lost that. He almost got knocked out by Julio Cesar Chavez in the 12th round. These different types of things. So to the untrained eye, somebody who doesn't study the sport and report on the sport like me, when it comes to boxing, it looks on paper, it looks more scary than the reality of it. You get what I'm saying? Because Cotto, oh shit, he's moving up to fight Sergey Martinez. But when you look at the fine print, he moved up. There was a catch weight. It was at 159 instead of 160. Sergio Martinez was 41 years old. He had a bad bum knee, which in turn was sustained in the Chavez Jr. fight, where he almost got knocked out after having a beautiful display of boxing. Then he took a year off, so he had layoff and inactivity. He, Martin Murray fight, he really lost and got knocked down. Was trying to wear a knee brace and the New York Commission wouldn't allow him. These different types of things. So yeah, I'm not taking anything away from Cotto, but it's really to me, it's kind of the same. It's the same principle. I think if Sergio Martinez fought Cotto, and this is my opinion, which I'm entitled to, obviously. If Sergio Martinez fought Cotto, and it's not spoiled milk or whatever, sour grapes or whatever, because I like Cotto as well. But I do believe if Martinez that fought the first 11 rounds before the injury against Chavez Jr., the Martinez that fought Kermit Cintron that knocked out Paul Williams, the Sergio Martinez that beat up Kelly Pavlik, a heavy-handed puncher, if that version of Martinez fought against Chavez would have, not Chavez, against Cotto would have lost. He was too small, in my opinion. He would have been too small. And that loose, elusive Sergio with the pizzazz and the footwork and southpaw, it would have been hard. That would have been real hard in my opinion. That would have been real hard for the boy Cotto. But timing is everything. It was at a good time. Cotto was feeling it. He took the challenge and it worked. So I think that's kind of what's happening here with Canelo. Banking on somebody's name. Like, okay, Kovalev has a name. He just knocked out Anthony Yarde, but he was really tested to go through Anthony Yarde. Plus the timing in that. He just fought a tough fight. Whether he won and got the knockout or not, he was just in a tough-ass fight. Canelo was in a kind of a lackluster fight with Danny Jacobs. I think Danny Jacobs made it close towards the end, but Danny Jacobs was getting kind of schooled up in the first rounds, and he should have took more penitentiary chances. He didn't use his size and stuff like that. So Canelo's had time to rest since May, Cinco de Mayo weekend, versus Kovalev just got through a war. So you got to factor in all this. This is all part of timing. It's not like Kovalev fights a tune-up in December and then takes, a concentrated amount of months off. Then he comes back fresh and at age 36 against Canelo. He's doing a quick turnaround. But this is his time. He's deserving of a big payday. The opportunity is here. And, he's taking it. So I can't be mad at Kovalev. It's money. This is his livelihood. And it's an opportunity. Maybe he feels he could really beat him. But I think people will be maybe a little bit surprised with how the fight plays out. The other thing is this. Canelo's hard as fuck to beat on the scorecards. So good luck with that. You're not necessarily going to easily beat Canelo on the scorecard. So if you don't dominate him, if you don't knock him out or a couple knockdowns or something like that, good luck with that, And so far, Canelo showed to have a responsible defense and be conscious of that. He has fast hands, and I think his style plays in well with Kovalev's style, the timing, Kovalev's age. Canelo has fast hands. He has slow feet, but has fast hands. But Kovalev doesn't have like quick ass feet himself. Kovalev is not really what you call fast. He's a good fighter, but his style is more like the Eastern European, less on the hooks and the uppercuts and pizzazz. He don't fight like a Roy Jones. Those are the styles that are gonna give Canelo the biggest problem. Look at Floyd Mayweather, that American style. A rhythmic black fighter that has that complete arsenal. Jab, up jab, mix it up, high guard, shoulder roll, like switching these different things up. That gives him, like, if Canelo were to fight Andre Ward, that wouldn't be good in my opinion. So I think Golden Boy they're kind of doing it for the shock value, because there's no reason to not stay put and stay in your own division and fight the dope fighters in the talent pool that are closer to where you're already at. But they're trying to sell it as, oh, Kovalev's his name. He just knocked out Anthony Yarde. this is the fight that needs to be made. But it's really, in my opinion, an advanced cherry pick. They like the matchup because, again, when there was an undefeated Andre Ward, we never heard of Canelo talking about going to light heavyweight or nothing like that. You know, there's dope fighters at 60, at 68, where you're already a champion. Canelo himself, this is not me ad-libbing. No ad-libbing, stick to the script. Canelo himself said he wanted to be undisputed at 160. So where did this Kovalev at 75 ordeal even come from? Because of the talent that's at 160 and 168. When they don't want to fight Golovkin. I don't think Canelo likes Golovkin. He thinks Golovkin talks shit, so he wants him to be his own man. And he probably wants to age him out, wait for a little bit, and then when he does fight Golovkin again for a third time, because it's probably inevitable if they keep, winning, then he wants to knock him the fuck out. Hopefully he does his own path, gets banged up in a couple of fights, the Derevyanchenko fight or, Jacobs rematch or whatever. And then, when he feels it's adequate, then fight against Triple G and hopefully knock him out and, ride off into the sunset with the trilogy, 2 of 3 victories, kind of like Pacquiao did with Eric Morales in the trilogy. That's what I think is going to happen. I think that's what he wants to happen. So he doesn't want to fight Triple G for that reason. We know this. Then Charlo, that would be an amazing fight. Charlo's from Houston. Canelo has a big fan base in Texas. That's a easy to make, like, Texas fight. I would definitely put it in Texas. There would be a genuine interest. You got 2 versions of WBC champions that could have been fought at 54 or 160, and it's not happening. Then, okay, you say one guy's with PBC. See, this is where boxing, this is where new media chews y'all. This is where we chew y'all up and eat y'all fucking lunch, because boxing is full of fake shit. Boxing is full of inconsistent motherfuckers, both in the media and with the fans. Because when Terrence Crawford and Bob Arum, I want Terrence Crawford to fight against Errol Spence. That's the only PBC guy we want. When they going on the horn and saying we want Crawford versus Spence right now, Crawford just got to the fucking division. They're saying that's what they want. Fans is running with it. Oh yeah, why are we not making the Errol Spence versus Crawford fight next? This is ridiculous. Okay. They don't want to hear no sides of the street excuses when it comes to the 2 black fighters fighting, Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. Oh, no excuses, motherfucker. You just get it done. You know what I'm saying? No excuses. We just want to see the fucking fight. But then when it comes to Canelo, the precious Canelo, Mr. A-side, lineal or whatever he is, franchise champion, el campeón, when it comes to him, now they have an excuse for why the Charlo fight can't happen. Oh, come on, it's politics and he's on the different side of the fence, which is automatically shot down by the real ones like me in new media. Because guess what? Sergey Kovalev is on the other side of the fence. He fights on ESPN with Top Rank and Main Events. So you can do a deal to get an ESPN fighter. If you look at it, his fight with Anthony Yarde was on ESPN Plus. Again, use the link below. His fight with the leader Alvarez, the rematch, was on ESPN Plus. So that's been a thing. So you can get an ESPN Plus fighter or ESPN fighter to fight on DAZN, but Charlo, you're not interested in picking. See, y'all got me breaking shit. That's how I know I'm getting in y'all ass Unpacked style, because y'all got me dropping shit and knocking shit over. But anyway, you got an ESPN fighter fighting on the DAZN app. Al Heyman is Derevyanchenko is an Al Heyman advised fighter, and that's a little bit different because he's a mandatory, but he's fighting on the DAZN app against Triple G. So why can't it happen when Terrence Crawford and Spence, which is a fight that, this is kind of new-ish. Canelo versus Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade and Charlo, this could have been happened. They were all at 54 together, or Canelo weight of 54 or 55. You get what I'm saying? And then you conveniently choose Kovalev. There's a reason by that, and I stand by that. And I think the reason is Kovalev is a good fighter, and they're just really going off of the kind of the name and the on paper threat level, and they know Canelo's style matches up well with European fighters and Eastern European fighters. Look how many European type of fighters Canelo has fought. Amir Khan knocked him out. Liam Smith knocked him out. Matthew Hatton knocked him out. Ryan Rhodes knocked him out. Rocky Fielding knocked him out. Now you have another fighter who's Eastern European, who's not fast, who has been through wars, who Andre Ward showed really the blueprint on how to beat him, right? And that's the fighter you choose, not Beterbiev, who we don't have a reason we don't have no blueprint on how to actually beat him. He has 2 wins over Kovalev in the amateurs, and he's a champion, and he hits like a ton of bricks. Dmitry Bivol said he'll go to 168 for Canelo, so he's been calling out Canelo. These fights aren't getting made at 75. Alexander Voltstik, he was on the Ukrainian Olympian team with Lomachenko and Usyk. They're all doing well for themselves. He just knocked out Adonis Stevenson. I wish him a speedy recovery. And you don't see Canelo even mentioning him. So how did you land out of all the light heavyweights that some of them look damn, Golovkin's shape look crazy. But anyway, Golovkin rocking that dad body right there. That distracted me. But anyway, out of all of the light heavyweight champions, how did you pick on the one champion who in his last 6-7 fights got 3 losses, 2 by stoppage? You get what I'm saying? And was even hurt in his last fight with Anthony Yard, right? So I think it all boils down to kind of a strategy. Again, Canelo himself said he wanted to fight himself. I want to unify the middleweight division. Now, all of a sudden, when unifying the middleweight division consists of you got to get a belt from Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, you got to get a belt from the new WBC full champion, Jermall Charlo. Now, all of a sudden, we're not even tripping off the middleweight division, unifying, being undisputed. All the shit we told ESPN Deportes and several, boxing outlets, we're concerned with jumping out of the division to go to 175. You explain that then. These aren't my words. This is what Canelo said he wanted to do. So why are you picking on Kovalev now? I mean, it's plain to see. It's very plain to see why he would choose him. He likes the style matchup. Chepo, Eddie Reynoso, and Chepo and Team Canelo, they like the stylistic matchup. Because Canelo doesn't match up as well with more of an American style, rhythmic dude. See, you got to look at it. Kovalev he's a good fighter, so I'm not berating him. And maybe he can do, it's probably going to be an upset, but maybe he can shock Canelo. But I don't see, at this point, I see it's not Kovalev that fought B-Hop, So I would pick Canelo in this fight for sure. People are going off of the name and, he beat Anthony Yard. The difference is Canelo has been fighting since he was 15 fucking years old in Mexico. He ain't no Anthony Yard. Anthony Yard ain't been fighting since he was 15. Canelo was a pro when Anthony Yard don't fucking spar. Canelo does. So you can't get gassed up off the Anthony Yard fight because I told you, Andre Ward told you before. We unpacking some shit now. We both told you. Me, Andre Ward told you. Anthony Yard and Tunde, especially Tunde, they had a lot to say, but we hadn't seen that against the competition you have fought. So this was your chance. This was your Jay-Z Memphis Bleak coming of age story, and you would have to prove it, and he came up short. He did better than people thought, better than I even thought he was going to do, but the outcome that I visualized and envisioned actually came true. Kovalev stopped him, but you can't say the same. Canelo is a very smart fighter. He has a good defense. He actually spars. Him and Anthony Yard do have something in common in terms of the stamina issues, but Canelo has fought 12 rounders before, Mayweather and Cotto and shit like that. So Julio Cesar Chavez, he's been in there with bigger guys. He knows how to at least preserve himself because we haven't seen Canelo really getting knocked down and knocked out and shit like that. So it's different because he has veteran level experience. Anthony Yard punched himself out, and when he was in the deeper waters, got drowned. He didn't really know what to do. He got knocked out by a jab. So I can't compare any of that to a guy like Canelo because, again, Canelo's been the face of boxing or one of them, and he's fought at a high level. He's fought at a high level where he was in there with the heavy-handed Golovkin and had to go 12 rounds twice. So he knows how to handle himself, hurt or not, a lot better than Anthony Yard. Anthony Yard is doing like Instagram mid workouts with no sparring and doesn't have his wind up, and really he went from this level of competition to this level, just a guy who's been around the block with heavy hands and stuff. It's just a different. we can't say Kovalev is by far the best guy Canelo's faced, because he faced Mayweather. Mayweather's a better fighter than Kovalev to me. You get what I'm saying? So this is more than meets the eye. That's why I had to do this unpack. Again, it's not a horrible fight. I'm definitely gonna watch it. I give this to Canelo. I like Canelo. This is eons better than fucking Rocky Fielding. So don't get this. Ego said this. Listen to what the fuck I said and hold me accountable for the statements I've made. So this is far better than Amir Khan and Rocky Fielding and Liam Smith. I don't think it's a fight like that. Kovalev got squabbles, so it's not that type of fight. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy win, but again, there's a built-in excuse too when fighters dare to be great. Oh, Kovalev, he just knocked out Yard, so if Canelo bit off more than two, you have he tried something great, just like Kell Brook versus Triple G, just like Amir Khan versus what's the name, just like Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence. You already have a built-in excuse. If you lose to 160-pound champions Charlo or Andre, you don't have no excuse. You guys were both at 54 together. You know, you're both at 60 kind of around the time. Actually, Canelo was at 60 before, I believe, Charlo and Andre. So there's really no excuse, right? The guys at 160, you're at 68. Caleb Plant, Caleb Smith. You don't really have reasons to lose, you know, to those guys. But if you dare to be great or whatever the fuck they're calling this shit, then you kind of have like a built-in scapegoat. Oh, man, Kovalev's a good fighter. 175 is not my true weight. All this bullshit. So, again, it's not the worst of fights, but I think competitively, stylistically, there's better fights. You know, I think they're picking on Kovalev because there's still some questions about Kovalev. There really are. Yard hurt him to the body, and I seen the same reaction from Kovalev that we seen when he fought against Andre Ward. So I don't think Kovalev has improved in that department. It's just Yard didn't have enough to capitalize and to know what he was doing. Like, even look at Yard's game plan. Yard's game plan, he landed some good body shots early and then just stopped. He wasn't like bow, bow. He was headhunting, to be honest. He was going more upstairs. You got to punch at Kovalev's chest. You got to fake him out, go to his body, dig to the body and shit like that. And then, you know, open him up. But Yard wasn't doing that. Canelo is a Mexican fighter from Guadalajara, Mexico, and we know he knows how to scrap. We know he knows combination punching, and there's never been a fight where he, like, you know, abandons his combination punching or body work. So I just don't think it's the fight that people think it's going to be. Bottom line is, if Canelo is defensively responsible, which he's going to be faster than Kovalev. He has better upper body movement than Kovalev. He's fresher than Kovalev. He's had actually a little bit of a break since Cinco de Mayo, unlike Kovalev, who just fought in a tough fight with Anthony Yard. I think Canelo's the clear favorite. You guys can say whatever. If I'm wrong and Kovalev stops him or some shit, then I'll give Kovalev props like I always do. But I think this is kind of a sleight of hand trick by Golden Boy and Canelo. And it's to try to give DAZN a fight to build up based on the name. Oh, he's going to 175. This is great. But again, I don't think it's the Kovalev we've seen, Jean Pascal, B-Hop, even the first Andre Ward fight. I think we've seen kind of a switch. But I do like Kovalev's partnering with Buddy McGurk. But I still see the same flaws since the Andre Ward fight. His wind seems a little bit suspect. He definitely doesn't like it to the body, and it's shown, and it's no. Canelo, he's an animal. If he knows he has you hurt, he's a good finisher, you know? And that's why it's being picked, because Demetrius Andre, there's no blueprint to beat his style. So what happened to being undisputed, unifying the division? You don't want to go through that path, because Demetrius Andre, I don't think he fights like Floyd per se. But if you had to compare somebody to Floyd out of list full of people, guess what? Demetrius Andre stylistically has more of a Floyd type of flair, Caleb Plant, guys like that, than fucking Kovalev. You look at the David Benavidez, he has size too, but he can also box and he has hand speed. That's a great fight too. But Canelo's not looking in these directions. So stop, because real talk, David Benavidez damn near look as big as Kovalev. I've been next to him. You know, Benavidez is big, you know, for his size. I mean, I'm taller and stuff, but for that weight class, he big. And they're trying to hype it up off of the fact that he's big, you know. But there's a lot of guys. Jermall Charlo is big. Demetrius Andrade is big. Their guys are all bigger and taller, you know. And beyond that, like I said, David Benavidez is big. Beyond, Better Biev is big. Plus they hit hard. Plus we don't have no blueprint on how to beat them yet. Canelo would have to show you that. So I think those fights would have kind of, you know, really just mean more. But beyond that, Canelo has fought bigger guys. Jacobs, Triple G, 2 times. That's 24 rounds with Triple G. He spars with Shabransky sometimes. Curtis Stevens. Those were guys that were at 160 or above when he wasn't even at that weight class. So, you know, I think this, like I said, kind of a sleight of hand trick. And they're using Kovalev's name and the fact that it's at an increased weight. But there's other guys who are bigger than Canelo as well, but stylistically will pose Canelo more problems. And you will see this if this fight goes down. You know, that's my thoughts. That's my prediction. We unpacked. I had to unpack it, coming to you live. If you like what I'm doing, you know, drop a donation, drop a like, drop a comment, all that good stuff. Share the video. We unpacked, coming to you live. Make sure you smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.